Alright everybody, I wanted to start this video stating that I do not promote the use of psychedelics, and all of my videos are based purely off of my own opinion and or experiences. I advise everyone to do their own research in taking the proper precautions, as these kind of practices are not for everyone. Wanted to thank everybody for the immense amount of support you guys have given me. My video has only been up about 6 days and hundreds of views, 50 comments, 40 likes. Thank you so much. Since my first video, I went from 70 subscribers. I am 2 away from 100. So thank you so much again. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and before we get into the first video here of episode 1, it is basically my review with the shaman after ceremony 1, kind of going over my experience and kind of how he felt about it. I think it's very funny and ironic how I mentioned that I didn't experience any darkness or experience death or deal with any, troubles or, tough moments as far as, fear or anything like that. And in ceremony 2, I experienced all of that. So it's almost as if I manifested it. But realistically, you'll see I didn't have the best time. It was the hardest thing I ever been through in my whole life. You'll see in the second part of the video, there is a short clip of me actually on the ayahuasca that night. Yeah, you'll see that I had a heat stroke and I experienced death, and I had an immense amount of fear for the ceremony 3. But yeah, just wanted to give a little introduction, and of course with the disclaimer, appreciate all you guys, and yeah, let's get into it. All right. Well, I'm nowhere near as drained as my last video. Feeling good, feeling great, energized. So just a couple updates. I just got out of my discussion with my shaman Wiler to kind of go over my experience last night, explain kind of what happened, how I felt, all that good stuff. So I basically told him that I didn't feel it during the ceremony, but after the individual singing to me, that's when it really hit me very hard. Told him I didn't have any visuals or feel a presence of Mother Aya, and that I kind of felt like my mind was drunk and my body was drunk. I was very drained. So the plans actually changed today. So normally the ceremonies are at 8 p.m. But I guess there is a celebration going on in the town that starts at 8 p.m. So instead of starting at 8 p.m., we're going to start at 6 p.m. Now the crazy thing about Peru is the sun actually goes down at 6, which is different for sure. It's usually 7, 8, or 9 in Buffalo, the States. But yeah, so that was interesting. It gets pitch black by like 6:30, 6:40. And oh, we got a dog coming. Let me see if I can get this. So the cool thing about these dogs, I guess, is there's like a white dog that's the mother. And I guess the mother had 3 back-to-back litters because none of the dogs are fixed. So basically, as soon as she was done with her litter, she got pregnant again. So she had 3 straight litters, and all of these dogs, none of them are owned by anyone. They're literally just free to roam around, and they're kind of just Peruvian jungle dogs, which is very cool. They all seem friendly. I haven't touched them or anything like that because, but you know, you never know. You know, I'm sure there's no SPCA, or you know, you never know if they have anything. But they all seem friendly. There's so many different colors: white, red, or not white, or not red, but white, black, brown. So that's been interesting. Yeah, that threw me off. But yeah, so they're having a celebration in the city, or in the village up ahead, and I guess the music's going to be very loud, so it's going to interfere with our ceremony if we start it at the same time. So we're going to start it 2 hours early. Originally I was like not sure how I felt about that because I kind of wanted more time to recover, but I'm feeling better now, so I'm open to it. My second ceremony is going to be in about 20-30 minutes here, so hopefully it's better today. So basically, once I told him everything about my experience, he said, you know, usually for people's first time, it is releasing a lot of things that are from my normal world, and it's opening me up, and that today I will have a more of a profound experience. And it's funny, I actually wrote in my journal before I went to talk to him, and I made new intentions, basically saying that today I want to connect with and feel the presence of Mother Aya. And what's funny is, as soon as I said that in the Malako, I believe that's how you pronounce it, which is the ceremony area, as soon as I said that, a huge gust of wind blew everything all around, almost like a mini tornado. And I took that as that's Mother Aya letting me know, hey, I hear you, and I am going to let you feel my presence tonight. So he basically said that I was just kind of unpacking everything from my normal life and things that I'm dealing with, and that today will be a much more profound and personal experience. So I'm looking forward to it. You know, a lot of the reviews that I have read has been the first day for people is very dark, and you see all the darkness, and you see your fears, and you go to your traumas and you have to deal with them, or you feel like you die and come back to life, and you experience that. And I didn't have any of that, and it's maybe because I've been on my spiritual journey for a year now, and I kind of know that your mind controls your realities, and I don't really fear death anymore because I know that we don't ever die, because energy cannot be created or destroyed, only multiplied. So I know that when I pass away in my human flesh, that doesn't mean it's the end of me or anyone else. So I believe that I'll get to connect with all the people throughout my life that have passed when I pass, and I'll kind of get to feel God's presence as well. So that's what I believe and know to be true. So maybe it's because of my outlook that I didn't have the darkness, and who knows, I might have the darkness tonight. I'm hoping that I get to have visions and heal any internal traumas that I don't know exist that hold me back. But he said basically that today will show me my path and kind of help me figure out what will help me reach my full potential. Today I ate for breakfast. I had basically like some mashed peas with mashed potatoes, I think it was. It's kind of bland, and then some tomatoes. So, you know, the meals here have been pretty bland, but I don't think they're used to vegans. Most of the meals they're serving are with either eggs or chicken and stuff like that. So I don't think they're really used to that part of things. My lunch, which is my last meal for the day at noon, that was pretty good. It was white rice with beans. With the beans was like it's almost like pork and beans. They kind of look like pork and beans, but they weren't the same tasting. But it was kind of like that sauciness, and then I had like avocado and coleslaw, which I guess is basically carrots and cabbage. I think I'm not a fan of cabbage, but the carrots were good. I had a really good juice. It was light. This morning they gave me a juice that was kind of like orange juice, but it was also like creamsicle kind of. I wasn't really a big fan of it, but I think they use a juicer here, so I gave up all sugary drinks like pop and stuff like that in the States about a year ago. So but I always have wanted a juicer, because I do believe that if you're drinking actual fruit juice, then that's fine as far as natural sugars. Obviously don't overdo it, but yeah, I'm pretty sure they have a juicer, because all this fruit still got the pulp in it, and it tastes very fresh, looks very fresh, and you could just tell it doesn't have all these added sugars like we're used to in the States. Well, yeah. So then I also had some tea, and that was kind of dry. But, you know, I'm used to having honey in my tea to sweeten it, but it was okay. It was good to get that down. I think if I have anything else to share. It's supposed to rain today. It's already getting dark, as you can kind of see. It's like 5:30, and the thunder was really loud for like 30 seconds. I wished I could have got it on camera. Oh, you can kind of hear it rumbling right now, actually. But yeah, it's kind of nice when it's rainy out here, because it cools everything down. It was 90 degrees earlier, just a couple hours ago. I was getting cooked in my room, so it was 90 degrees. It's supposed to be, the high is going to be 97 on Friday. Today is Tuesday. But yeah, just figured I'd give an update on how it went with my discussion with Wheeler, the shaman, just to kind of get some input and insight on how he feels about my experience on the first night, and get some intellect on tonight, how tonight's going to be. So that's cool. Yeah, looks like they got more instruments, like a bongo drum and new guitars, and I think someone new is coming in who sings and plays music and the flute, and I think I heard them say, so that's going to be really cool. But yeah, when you're on the ayahuasca, the music just speaks to you, you know, depending on who's singing and the song and everything like that. A lot of it isn't in English. 95% of it isn't in English, so I don't really understand the lyrics, but it's very beautiful and soothing while you're on the ayahuasca. So I'll close it with Mother Aya. I hope I get to feel your presence during this ceremony. I look forward to it. Hopefully you can show me visions, and I can have a profound experience. Love and light. I probably sweated about 10 pounds tonight. I had a whole heat stroke. I have so much to say. This was the hardest thing I've ever experienced in my whole life. I literally thought I was dead, stuck in the jungle. No one's coming to save me. But after the ceremony ended, I started to come back to my normal self, and I feel so strong right now. So empowered. I'm about to make a long vlog, hopefully. I have a day off tomorrow, so that's cool. But yeah, I'm about to make some vlogs, so subscribe to my channel, because you are not going to want to miss these stories of the experience that I just went through. All right, guys. This is day 4. Today's my day off from the ayahuasca, and then I have 2 more days in a row, Thursday, Friday. Had my second ceremony yesterday, and it was an experience for sure. I thought that the first ceremony was hard, but it was absolutely nothing in comparison to what I dealt with last night. So first off, normally the ceremonies are at 8 p.m. However, there was apparently a party in the village next to us. They were celebrating so many years of being a village. So the music was going to be very loud, and they didn't want it to interfere with the ceremony process. So we actually started it at 6 p.m. instead of 8. So that was a little interesting. Didn't have as much time in between that I usually do. But yeah, I have some notes that I wrote yesterday. I wanted to do a vlog yesterday while I was still kind of on the ayahuasca, but I just didn't really have the energy. But I did make a little video on my phone that I'll try to post. Just a quick video, just kind of going over a couple of general things that I was feeling in the moment. So I will post that as well as probably like a short instead of like a regular video. But yeah, so I think he gave me a full dose this time, and last time he gave me a 3/4. And yeah, again, it seemed like I was the last person to throw up. I don't know why. I don't know if my stomach is just very strong and I'm able to hold down the medicine for a long time. But yeah, yesterday was probably the toughest thing I ever experienced in my life. But yeah, so an interesting, very strange situation that happened was, I'm not sure if I mentioned it in previous videos, but there's 3 girls here from Italy. Now the one is kind of like, they're all friends, and the one is kind of like the, so to say, leader of the group. She's the most experienced. I think she's married to a shaman. So she's been down these roads with ayahuasca and plant medicine for many, many times. She doesn't even know how many times she's done ayahuasca. It's been so many. So she's been kind of like an angel to me here so far, like a motherly figure almost. The first day, I don't think they were planning for a vegan, so they gave me like dry lettuce and tomatoes for lunch, and that was like depressing. And she ended up going to tell them that I was able to have this potato sandwich, kind of. It was like mashed potatoes, but they formed it into 2 pieces of kind of like bread, and then it had peas and carrots in the middle. So that literally saved the day. She helped me in the pool. At the first ceremony, she just started singing these most angelic songs and playing the guitar so very well. And her voice was just amazing, and it was a nice kind of feminine energy to the background of the shaman who were singing with the male energy. And it kind of soothed. Then she brought me tea and honey after my first ceremony. I couldn't really move or talk. But so yeah, she's been amazing. And then yesterday morning, in the kitchen, she was humming, and I just had to tell her. I said, "Your voice is beautiful," and she said, "Thank you." And then, as soon as this, I would say we take our ayahuasca brew, and we go back to our mats, and within like 40 minutes to an hour, she just starts singing again. But it didn't feel the same. It wasn't angelic. It was almost like a chant. It was almost like the same song over and over again, and she kept going from really loud to lowering it a little bit, then going to really loud, and her voice wasn't the same. It was a completely different voice. Eventually, after a long time of that, Alex, the American that kind of works here with Wheeler, who kind of translates, and he kind of coordinates everything and all that, he eventually walked up to her and was like, "Simona, Wheeler has asked for you to stop singing," and she just kept ignoring him and singing to him. Eventually, he kept pressing the issue, and she literally just snapped at him and was like, "Shut up, shut up," and then went back to singing, and then moved back in her mat, so she could get away from him trying to tell her to stop. And this went on for a while. Eventually, she literally got up, and when you're doing a ceremony, you're not to leave the malaki. I believe that's how you I believe that's the word of it, but it's basically the area where we're all laying in our mats, and you stay there until he eventually says the ceremony has concluded, and he lights a candle, and then you can leave. But that's not for hours and hours. So she gets up and literally walks out, and then now she's singing outside, in just the middle of the village or the spiritual center area. So basically they say that if you leave, we're going to come ask you to come back in. So Alex follows her out. She's like just singing and walking around, and she starts screaming at him because he's telling her to, I don't know if he was telling her to just stop singing and maybe go to her room, because it messed with the whole energy, the whole ceremony, the whole vibe and spirit of everything, and kind of brought some dark energy into the whole thing, which is crazy for my second ceremony for that to happen. But I guess the girl next to me, who's been doing it a while as well, she's American, from Chicago. She basically said that does happen from time to time. But yeah, so eventually I think she went to her room, and she was like, I don't know, doing her own thing, and he came back and was basically like, she's okay or whatever. But yeah, she was literally possessed. And that was my first time ever seeing a possession in real life. It was not her. She's not rude. She's not like that. Again, it wasn't even her voice. It was a completely different voice. So something took over her, and I don't know what kind of chant she was singing or what the lyrics meant, but it just didn't feel good. And that could possibly have contributed to the insane night that I had personally. So I'll just go over some of the notes here. Angel being possessed. Her voice changed. She was very rude and wouldn't stop singing. She shifted the whole energy and eventually left. Sorry, it sounds like people are walking by, but maybe not. Sorry. Yes, you see, she eventually left. Then I started just going through it. It felt like I was having a heat stroke. I was pouring sweat. My hair was completely soaked. My body was completely soaked. I was in so much physical anguish. Sweating profusely. Eventually, I started to feel a breeze, and I believe that was like from the sweat and my body kind of regulating itself. But I literally felt like I was going to die. I felt like I was just lost in a jungle. Nobody was going to come save me. I couldn't really voice to anybody how I was feeling. I kind of just had to deal with it and go through it. And it was the hardest thing I ever felt in my life. Eventually, I finally puked, and there was something in that bucket later. Once the ceremony was over, and I put my flashlight on in that bucket to kind of see what I had threw up. There was some foul shit in there, something like I never seen before. So, another thing that I did this time is I made sure I brought a second pillow so I could put it in between my knees, because I'm a side sleeper and I'm just more comfortable laying on my side with a pillow between my knees, as well as I brought some water this time. And I brought a washcloth to put over my mouth and my nose, because almost every single person in there smokes the mapacho, which is the Peruvian tobacco, and it gives me a headache. It makes me feel nauseous and sick, and as well as they spray this perfume, both of which is supposed to like help you during your ceremony or protect you or whatever. But even the perfume, while it smelled good originally, it eventually got to the point where it was just felt like poison and fumes and stuff like that. So I was kind of protecting myself with the washcloth over my mouth and face. Now, obviously, I wasn't getting the best fresh air, but it really helped with the headache. I didn't really get a headache from it. But then once it got to the point where I was just having a heat attack, I couldn't no longer even think to try and keep the washcloth over my face. So now I'm breathing in the smoke and the perfume, and it's just making everything so much worse. I remember I kept touching myself over and over again just to kind of like stop myself from fading out. Like I felt like I was gonna pass out and never wake up. So I just kept fighting my body just to make sure I stayed awake. Then it got a little dark where I started to feel like the room was against me. Everyone in the room was working in on it, and they were performing rituals on me, and they were trying to possess me or make me a mind slave of the jungle, or sorry, sounds of the jungle are wild. Always feels like somebody's walking up, but felt like I was going to be lost in the tribe, and that I was going to be mind controlled, and I was going to be just forget my whole life back home and stay out here, which I obviously don't want to do. And it felt like I was just fighting with my soul. It felt like my soul was trying to be taken. Now, this could just all be in my head. When I'm not under the ayahuasca, they're all very friendly and helpful and caring and to each other and me, and so it could just be my mind playing tricks on me or being negative when I shouldn't be. But this is just how I felt, what I felt. So what I wrote down was I felt like they were performing rituals on me to take me from myself, but I kept fighting to stay awake. Basically, I felt like if I would have fully given in, I would have been lost. I don't know what would have happened, but I kept kind of falling out and then bringing myself back and watching my surroundings, and I noticed that they kept like coming up in front of my mat to sit in front of me randomly, and I don't know why or what was going on, but I remember I just kept a laser focus on making sure nobody was touching me, which nobody did touch me. I think that even if there was some nefarious things at play, you have to be willing to give that to them. And I was not giving them permission. And again, I could just be projecting. I could just be completely misjudging the situation. And, this is all new to me. So, not saying that anything that I felt last night was true. Obviously you're in an altered state of mind, you're in an altered state of consciousness, you're on a psychedelic, so, it was different. They were like blowing smoke on me, and it felt like they were blowing the smoke on me and spraying the perfume on me, and it kind of felt like I was just getting overwhelmed by everything going on, and I just wanted to get rid of the heat sweats, and I was in so much anguish. And then they start singing to you individually, and that really made things worse as far as how I was feeling. But once the ceremony finally ended, it was almost like they were pulling darkness out of me. And once they finished the singing and everything, I started to come back to myself. I started to feel normal again from the heat stroke. And I started to feel empowered, and I started to feel very strong minded and body, because I had literally felt like I died and came back to life. So that was good. I felt like my soul was under attack. However, as the singing ended, I started to recover and feel normal again. I puked up something I never seen before, like an exorcism. I thought I was going to die on the mat. Eventually, Alex came and checked on me, and I said I was doing rough, and he said, I'll let you rest. And the girl next to me from Chicago, she started talking to me and making me feel better. And we just started talking, and then another guy came in that wasn't under the ayahuasca, because he's doing a different plant medicine where he's not mixing it. But most people do mix it when they're on a different, it's called a dietes, which actually I learned means diet. But basically you work with a plant for like 3 weeks or 2 weeks or some of them are even 3 months. And you basically don't use deodorant, toothpaste, soap. You're not supposed to really talk to anybody. You're supposed to actually build a bond with the plant, and each plant does something different for you, depending on what you ask Wiler to heal, or what you're looking for out of it. Basically, yeah, so you have to kind of fast and stay to yourself and all that. So a guy came in from after that with a guitar, and he brought tea and everything, so that was cool. And he had a really interesting accent. And yeah, so I felt a lot better. Eventually, I got the courage to ask Alex for a hug, and he gave me a hug, and that just kind of brought me peace and brought me back even more so than I had already been rebuilding myself, just to feel the touch of someone who cares and that was trying to help. And I would say hugs are so underrated. Hug people as much as you can. Don't be afraid to ask for one if you feel that it will help you, because 99% of the time it will make you feel better. I appreciated that a lot. I felt reborn. It was like I shedded my skin, kind of like a snake. My body turned itself inside out. I felt so strong after making it through that. I feel great. Now, this was last night. I felt great. When I got back to my room, I felt empowered. Today, I'm a little sluggish and still tired. I just had breakfast. They gave me a bunch of fruit, so that was tasty. I'm probably going to nap again until noon when lunchtime, but I wanted to make a video while everything's still fresh on my mind. But yeah, I felt great. I made it out of hell on earth, only to become triumphant in self-discovery. The tea was comforting. When I came back to my room, there was a spider bigger than I've probably seen in person before. It looked like it was made up of sticks, so it was like a stick camo spider. And it was the size of my hand. It could have fit in my hand, and it was right in front of me, kind of judging the situation. Eventually it disappeared and went under the bed. Now, as you can see, I kind of have a bed shield, and I'm very anal about it. I tuck in every spot I can to make sure nothing gets in my bed when I'm laying down or sleeping. So yeah, that's about all I got for my second ceremony. I underestimated my first ceremony, thinking that was going to be the worst of it, which it wasn't easy at all. But man, yesterday was the hardest thing I ever went through. I'm hoping that my next two ceremonies are not like this. The temperature is going to be supposedly 97 on Friday and high 90s on Thursday, but I'm hoping we have our ceremonies at 8 p.m. So it's been 2 hours of sundown, so it's not that hot, because the heat, it just came out of nowhere, where my body was just going through it. I probably lost about 10 pounds in sweat. It probably lasted about an hour, a half hour of just a half hour, 45 minutes to an hour of just excruciating anguish, where I felt like I was gonna pass out and lose my soul. And but my soul's still here. Yeah, my current feelings on ayahuasca is, I think that it might be more suitable and geared towards people that really have been through a lot of trauma. I didn't have any visions again. I kind of felt like I might have felt Mother Aya's presence, but it wasn't extremely clear if I did. But I would like to say that I may have experienced Mother Aya a little bit, but I didn't go on any journeys as far as touching on trauma. So I think ayahuasca is more geared towards PTSD and bipolar and anxiety and severe depression, and I don't really have any of that. So I came out here just looking to kind of get some answers on where my life path is. And it may be this. It may be talking to you guys. That may be my path. Maybe I'm meant to be a YouTube speaker. I have went from 2 followers yesterday to 39 in one day. And that's probably a sign that I am headed down the right path, and I can't wait for all the people that subscribed to see these videos, and just to comment and tell me kind of your feelings on my stories and my experiences. But yeah, I would highly recommend this to anyone who has PTSD and severe trauma. And obviously the one thing that you cannot come do ayahuasca on is if you have schizophrenia, because it'll make it worse. And you cannot be on prescription, or you cannot be on antidepressants. So even if, now I'm not saying if you're on antidepressants that you shouldn't do the ayahuasca. What I'm saying is you have to get off of them for about 2 weeks before you come try it. Now, every time I talk to someone, they're like, I'll lose my shit if I get off of them. But realistically, those antidepressants are only band-aiding your issues. They're not healing them. And you can do your own research. People with PTSD and anxiety, and people that have done hard drugs like H and cigarettes, and people have literally cured their cancers and internal problems. It basically rewires your mind. It regrows brain cells. It completely changes your mind. So do the research, of course. Watch reviews. Look into what it does to your brain. You might be surprised. Right now, I can't explain all the benefits that I've had from it, other than finding out how strong my body is. And just to live in the present moment, and it's humbled me more than probably I already have been. I would say I'm decently humble, but I also feel that we are all God. So that's empowering to me, that, I don't look at it as like, oh, I'm better than anyone because I'm God, because I also believe you're God. So our minds control our realities. So you change your mind, you'll change your life. And I've just been on this spiritual journey for a year. I went vegan a year ago. I started cutting out sugar and all these poisonous foods and drinks that is legally given to us in the US, where it's banned in a lot of countries, like Gatorade and all these food dyes that are cancerous and causing all these issues. I've cut out of my life. I stopped eating meats because of the spiritual aspect. I believe that when you're ingesting the soul energy of a tortured animal, that it actually will affect your life as well. On top of it, they're poisoning the meats and everything like that in the supermarket. So unless you're actually hunting your own, you can't really trust it, honestly. So, but I'm not about killing anything. So I don't even kill spiders anymore, or bugs. I just let them be because I believe they are God. It's just like me. So, but that's just my little history this year, this new journey that I've been on. I've been experimenting a lot with psilocybin. And that seems to be the best psychedelic for me, psilocybin. LSD is kind of lasts too long for me. 16, 24 hours is just, I'm over it at that point. That's too long to be in that altered state for me. So Mushies is, 4 to 6 hours, could be longer, but that seems to be what's best for me currently. So I've been experimenting a lot with that. That's helped me kind of deal with my past traumas, kind of the trauma of my father not being in my life and kind of wondering why I wasn't worthy of his love. But I realized that it's not my fault, and to forgive him is healing me. So I forgive him, and I wish that I could go back in time, and even though time doesn't exist, I wish I could go back and just see why he made the decisions that he made, because I'm sure he had reasons and all that stuff, and I know that it probably hurts him to know how I've felt about him over the years, and he's tried, and I just haven't been ready to open that door again. So, I thought that this trip would maybe make me ready for that, but at this current moment, I don't think that I'm ready to open that door just yet, but I do forgive him, and I do wish him the best, and I hope that he can heal from the trauma and damage that it's probably done to his own mind, knowing that he's not in my life or in my son's life. I just wish he would make things right. He wants me to come out to where he lives. He wanted me to work at his cell phone shop, and it's like, that's not how you approach mending a relationship that you destroyed or walked out on. You have to put in the effort. You have to make the moves. You have to, show that it's, I have a great job. I don't want to come work in a cell phone store. I don't want to drive an hour to come see you. You should be coming to me, taking me out to dinner or something like that, and just showing that you care. I'm sure you do care, but the approach just didn't resonate with me. So, and maybe we never do reconnect, and that's okay. I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that this is my journey, and what's meant to happen is going to happen every time, and you cannot force things. You have to just go with the flow and be like water. So that's my little spiel on kind of me. But yeah, today's my day off. I don't know if I'll make another vlog. Probably not. I'm probably just going to hang out till lunchtime and then hang out until dinner time and kind of get myself ready for tomorrow's ceremony, as well as Friday's. And I'm hoping that I get to experience some of this pure bliss and joy that people have said usually happens on the second, third, and fourth ceremonies, because my first two were very rough. So maybe that's something that I need to go through. Maybe it kind of, hopefully it got up all the negative energy in me, and kind of, when I purged and sweated profusely, it was kind of getting rid of all that. But if I have to go through more in these next two ceremonies, then I guess it is what it is. I just hope that I make it out safely, and I hope that my thoughts on yesterday were just my mind playing tricks on me, because I would love to have a good night on ayahuasca. But maybe that's not in the cards for me, and it is what it is. I'll come back stronger from it. So I'll end with that, and love and light.